in our first break, you said something interesting. You said that you thought that JD Vance was, again, to use the technical political science term, dog walking Tim Walz. Tell me why. One, do you think, now that you've seen the entire debate, do you think that JD Vance won the debate? And if so, why did he win the debate?
I would absolutely say that he won the debate. And I think that when they started off the debate, it seemed like Walz was uncomfortable, maybe in his own skin, maybe being there. And it's really surprising from someone, you know, who has led and governed states and been in Congress, that he would seem so uncomfortable. And there were answers that I believe that he should have been able to give with fluency that he seemed to fumble. And so very early on within the debate, what you're seeing is someone who seems outmatched quite clearly. And I think that a lot of people were expecting for JD Vance to say wild, outlandish things, and it was going to be a little bit more entertainment as opposed to facts. And that's not what I saw. And some of the people within the comments specifically watching this right now were also saying the exact same thing.
Okay, David, I'm going to bring you in. When you look at, before we even get to the substance of the issues, when you watch a debate, and I say that because Joe Biden, who I also know you supported similarly against Donald Trump before Kamala Harris stepped in. And when I mean similarly, I just mean you weren't voting Trump. You made a pragmatic decision to say our best chance of preserving democracy from your perspective was to vote Joe Biden. I think even people who took the position that Biden is a much better choice than Donald Trump still believe that Joe Biden didn't do well in his first, he didn't communicate that well in his debate performance. The performance didn't match. So I'm saying, for a moment, setting aside what we think about these candidates, when you watched the debate, did you feel that Tim Walz won the debate? Do you feel like he communicated himself effectively? Do you think he met his goals, or what Kamala Harris's goals were likely for him going into this?
Yes, I believe he won the debate. Yes, I believe he did what he needed to do. And I will even concede to our sister's point that maybe he was uncomfortable in the beginning. I think most people would be uncomfortable in the beginning on that stage for the first time ever in their lifetime. And I want to, again, complete the sentence, which is to say that if your expectation of someone winning a debate is to stand there and simply run their mouth without speaking on facts, then sure, JD Vance didn't have a whole lot to work through. But Governor Walz absolutely did what he needed to do.
Okay. Dr. Taylor.
Okay, I can't cuss, right? Because I can cuss on my channel. I can't cuss.
I'm scared to say yes because I don't want y'all to go. You can curse. It's not at each other.
No, because I got muted for cussing. Apparently.
Okay, no, we're not going to cuss. We're not going to cuss. Listen,
the same thing I said. No, just
we're not going to
cuss. Same thing that I want to set the ground rules first again. The same thing I said to Tiffany the last time. I said you can cuss, just not at each other.
I'm from New York, so you know what I'm saying. So like, it's whatever. So I'm in between somewhere because I recognize the theater of it, and to me, tonight was rather theatrical. And so, if we're determining the winner of a debate by theatrics, then absolutely, I think that Tim Walz won because I share his birthday. I could recognize the points where he tempered his incredulity. Like he would look at Vance and be like, in his mind, he's thinking N-word, what the F? But then he was just like, I'm not gonna say that, right? Go. You know what I mean? So there were times when I felt like, in terms of dominating and connecting with the people, Walz was very much like, all right, he's saying some stuff, but let me talk to you. And I think when you're running for office, that's what's important. Talk to the people. Get them to hear what you're saying. Vance was pathologically lying. And I think we were talking in my channel about how triggering that can be for folks that have been gaslit. JD Vance lied 95% of the time. Like literally things that he was saying were false, like absolutely false. However, he relies on the American people not knowing the truth. And he's so charismatic, and I'm a public speaker, so I critique it from that. As a debater, as a deliverer, that man was strong. And if people don't bother to fact check, he looked really good. But for me, I'm like, this man is a pathological liar. Like there's some psychosis happening there. So for me, it's all entertaining because they're both like representing, tickets that are full of shit and it's a complete circus. But if we're talking about the American people and what they're susceptible to, I think that Tim Walz wins this one.
Here's my concern. And I'm going to bring this to you, David, before I bring Whitley back in, because I can see on her face she got a lot to say. And I'm going to balance her time because there's fewer of her than there is of us. I'm
in the middle. What are you talking about?
She's the only one.
And I want to know.
David have had drinks together. I let us man, and we will. And after this is all done, Dave and I will get together and we will reconnect. And what it's love.
Fair enough.
Yeah, let's pray that I'm not signed up to go into an internment camp because of my gay black self. But
right.
I just assumed that Whitley was the only person here that's going to actually vote for Donald Trump. That's all I mean.
Okay. Words matter.
Yeah.
That's all I mean when I say the only. That's what I mean. It's more of us than her. I meant more non-Trump voters than Trump. You know what I mean? I think all of us would cut our own face before we vote for Donald Trump. Whereas she's willingly doing so, and that's not a criticism.
She's going to willingly vote for a rapist, and that's fine. Right? If that's
we can go all those places. We can go all those places. I just want to stay here for 1 second. These debates aren't for the people who already want to vote for the person they want to vote for. It's for that narrow slice of people who still haven't made their mind up. My fear, David, is that the people who haven't made their mind up aren't reasonable. To me, if right now, on October the 1st, right, you don't know whether Donald Trump is your person or not, then you're probably susceptible to lies. You're probably susceptible to the stuff. A year ago, different. But right now, if you still think Donald Trump is viable, then JD Vance saying a bunch of wild stuff that's not true would be an issue, or vice versa, right? If you happen to be to like lean in toward Kamala but don't know, Tim Walz, he might, if he tells a whopper, you might be okay with it. So I guess my question is, if what Dr. T is saying is accurate, and that is that Vance looked good to people who don't know much, and this election is going to be decided by people who don't know much. Is this a victory for the Republicans just by attrition?
I want to push back on the idea that people don't know much. And I know my sister, Michelle, so I know the spirit in which she offered it up. And my concern is that when that sentiment is usually offered up in the ether, it suggests that Black people don't know better and that we do what MAGA white supremacists and white racial actors do, which is act in our own self-interest. And as Michelle is acknowledging, that is the exact opposite of true. We continue to be the defenders of democracy. We continue to do the custodial work of caring for children and a country that often doesn't care about us when we need it to.
Family, I'm not talking about Black people.
Yes. I'm actually thinking about the white guy in Ohio.
I'm talking about
Trump still making sense
talking about
to me.
The crackers. I'm not talking about Black people, family. You know that.
Okay.
You know that.
But we're having a conversation with Black people in this space, so that's my frame. I actually wasn't considering them in this context. So that's what I heard, and that's what I filtered it through. So you might want to ask me a different question.
I'm not talking about us.
Do you think that the undecided? Do you think that the undecided voter in Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Arizona, many of whom identify with Trump, and I did
they'll fall for the grift? Do I think that they'll fall for the grift?
Sure,
quite possibly, but I've never trusted white people, and this is why I have this energy in this space of having Black conversations with Black voters. And so, yes, semicolon, I've never trusted them. 67%.
Fair enough.